Okay, morning guys, welcome back to the channel. Next episode on the 996, the restoration of the 911. So where have I got to? I've got to the point where the underside is completely done. And when it was done, it's been done for quite a while now. And when it was done, I thought, oh great, I'll start putting everything back on. And then I had a change of heart because I thought, well, what I should probably do is get the outside done as well, painted. I don't mean the entire car, but basically what I've done is, I think I showed you this on a previous video, I went down the side of the car and all around the car really, and just picked up little spots which I didn't like, or little bubbling spots in the paintwork, like that for example, which aren't too serious, but they do need doing. So I thought, and there's more down this side because this is the near side in the UK, obviously the opposite in Germany. And I thought, well, I'll make up a sort of a jig with wheels and then put this on a trailer and then take it to the paint shop. But then, just very recently, I was thinking, crikey, the more I go into this car, and I've still got the engine to do, and I've tidied up the gearboxes, all the suspension, the more and more I go into it, the more things I find. And because I'm, I don't know if it's being perfectionist or whether I'm very sort of anal about these things, I want it all to be absolutely perfect. But I've come to the realization, if I keep doing that, then the car will just simply never get done. And I'm a bit worried that the work that I've already done on it will deteriorate before. It's a bit like the Golden Gate Bridge, you never finish the job, because once you've painted it, you've got to start again because it needs redoing. So that's my concern. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start putting everything back together on the underside of the car so that I can essentially drive it, and then I can have a think about what I'm going to do. Obviously there's some painting which needs to be touched up on the sills on the outside of the car, which you can see obviously, which would be perfectly done with a respray of each side. But apart from anything, and the costs that I've got to take on with the rest of the work that still needs doing, I can't afford to do the paint job at the moment, so that'll just have to be something for a bit later on. And that's fine, because as I've sort of proved to myself, taking the engine out or doing work on this car is pretty straightforward. And just because I've got it apart now doesn't mean I have to do everything. So also what I plan to do is take more of the engine apart to try and do all the chain guides and stuff. But having seen one of the chain guides, they're really not in bad condition at all. So what I'll do is I'll replace the ones that I can easily get to, put the engine back together. I mean, it's not that dismantled at the moment, but put the cylinder head back on bank one. No, not the cylinder head, sorry, the rocker cover essentially, back on bank one, and just sort of put on the new stuff that I've already bought for the engine, because I've got quite a lot already. Air oil separator, I've got to do new fuel lines, and there's a whole bunch of stuff I've got to do anyway. So rather than take on too much more work, and prolong this project probably another year, I just want to get it working, back together and on the road again so I can enjoy it. So that is the plan. Bearing in mind, I've still got stuff to do, like I've got to get a dual mass flywheel, a clutch kit, a slave cylinder, a whole bunch of stuff for the car still, which is going to run into quite a lot of money. So that's going to be enough at this stage. So that's what I'm going to do. Today I'm just going to start by taking out these bungs that I've put in, pull through the electrical connectors that I've pushed into the car, and just start putting things back together. Okay, so just to give you an idea of what I mean, these sensors here come out from the inside of the car. I'll put that one back on. Some there as well. I put some grease around the bung here. But what I've done now is I've opened a packet of this, or a pot of this cavity wax. I'm just going to sort of dip my finger in and put wax around the rim of these holes here, just to give it an extra seal. Okay, so I'm just gonna fit the bracket for this brake line junction box. I don't know the correct word for it, but I wasn't sure whether I cleaned it up and painted it, but I found it in the box and I thought, oh, fantastic, I have done it. Some of the brackets for the car I've sent off to have powder coated after having a bit of a failed attempt at coating them in the winter last year. If you remember, I rubbed them down, painted them, and then put some stone chip on top of the black paint, and it all cracked and it looked terrible. So I've sent them away to have them powder coated. So another cost, of course, but hopefully that won't be too expensive, but it really will make a massive difference. But anyway, going back to this, what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to take out these old brake lines here. I had them in there to stop it from leaking and dripping. So I'm going to take those off. You can see the markings here, look. And I'm going to clean this up a little bit. So just going back to these markings, VL, VR, HR, HA, HL. So that means vorne links, vorne rechts, hinten links, and hinten HA, hinten Anschluss. I don't know what that means. But that is front left, front right, rear right, rear left, and I don't know what the HA is. If it's HA for hinten Anschluss, that means rear connection. But anyway, that's the German abbreviations there, or initials. But anyway, let's get that cleaned up. Okay, so that's got that little bit tidier. Cleaned out the threads. Well, that could do with a bit more, that one. Under there as well, maybe a bit more there. But yeah, it's looking fine.